All right, Coach, how's your first fall camp coming along?
Great, loving it. Loving every bit of it. Very excited to be here, and it's been a lot of energy. Coach Freeman's been great, and the buy-in's been incredible.
What's the biggest difference in culture around Notre Dame's program between now and when you were here for the first time in 2016?
You know, I think both are different, but when it comes to Coach Freeman, you know, just that push of attention to detail and really caring about the fact that everybody's role is important. Doesn't matter what your rank, or if you're a walk-on, if you're a scholarship. It's he's holding everybody to a standard to execute to the level that he wants.
Marty, you've been in this game a long time. Can you tell me how special teams have evolved, or what's the emphasis been over the past couple of seasons?
Sure, I think you're seeing more and more with the emphasis becoming two kind of philosophies, either being very attacking or just being real conservative. With the new kind of punters coming in, and it's not so much, you know, it's a lot harder in a return game aspect because they've gotten really good at placing the ball. Used to be, you know, 80s, 90s, 2000s, every punt was in the pocket and you could say 40 to 45 yards right in a certain landmark. Now it's like a week by week where you're playing a team that moves the pocket, you're playing a team that punts in the pocket, you're seeing a whole different formation every week. So I think you're seeing some uniqueness in college football with the way the rules are. And so I think that, you know, it means you have to be creative but willing to adjust.
The skill positions really require a certain mental fortitude, but talk about the mental aspect of the specialists this year.
Sure. So whether we're talking about a kicker, a snapper, even a returner, most of the time we're trying to teach those guys that there's two things I try and equate it to. It's either going to be they're a golfer that's trying to get into a routine before every single rep, or a closing pitcher mindset. So we're calling on you to perform in what we call not pressure, but in clutch situations. And so we do a lot of sports psychology, mental training. We're definitely always trying to put them in a prepared state before they cross the hash, so they feel like the consistency is there. So all they have to do is go through and execute.
Two things, Coach. First, great taper in your lineup, like the cut. But how have you seen this team kind of progress throughout your time here this fall? And I guess what's been the most exciting part from the skilled players that have joined the special teams this year?
Sure, for me it would be the excitement of just the buy-in. You know, getting here from day one, even in spring, but especially this fall, I feel like we picked up with the same sense of energy that we want for our special teams units. And so just to see that normally at that week, or practice 5, practice 6, you can start to kind of hit a lull of energy, and it's just maintained. And that's what we're trying to do, is just keep going with that mindset.
And then, Coach, you sort of inherited Spencer. What do you feel? What are the upside for Spencer, and just whatever has been your impression of him?
Sure. So Spencer, I mean, we're very blessed to have him. We're looking forward to a great season with him. You know, a veteran presence always helps, especially in our room. So when you have him and Milk, who have played a lot of games, one, it just brings a calmness to the room. And now we're looking for him to be able to perform in clutch situations. And so I think the fact that he's at a mental standpoint where he knows he can perform and execute regardless, first quarter or fourth quarter, it doesn't really matter. He just knows when it's time, he has a job to do.
His soccer background, do you see that as a benefit at all for him?
Absolutely. Definitely a benefit because more than anything, although the swing is a different swing path, it's something that he's able to relate back to and perform to. And with his soccer background and the level that he played, even internationally, you know he's ready for big stage type moments, penalty kick type shots, having to make clutch kicks. And so that's all we're trying to do. And so we pull from that when we're doing our visualization, doing our imagery. And that's part of the thing we'll try and focus in on when it's time for him to perform.
We'll do two more.
As you come into a school for your first season, what sort of a difference does it make in terms of your approach to fall camp when there's a lot of turnover in the unit versus if the roster's already set?
Well, I think the good part here is there's a lot of consistency back, if you go back and kind of look. And so that's probably what we're the most excited about. Is it obviously credit to Coach Mace and the standards that he set, and Coach Freeman last year, but getting to return a lot of those same players. The buy-in's already there, so it's not like you're having to start truly all over again with a new culture. Everybody already stands. This is how we go every single day.
And you talked about finding the balance between being aggressive and kind of being conservative as a unit. What's your philosophy with that? And is that something that'll kind of be more set as you get further along and closer to the regular season?
Yeah, I think it's a game plan by game plan situation. We're always going to do what's best for Notre Dame. Special teams is just 1/3 of it. So it always can depend on every situation. We're just trying to get our guys ready. We want to be aggressive. We want to attack. We want to create angst. But we want to do it with, smarts and whatnot too. So we don't want to get to the point where anybody can scheme us up and know, oh, this is such an aggressive team, we can just do this. So we have to be very detailed in our game plan so our guys know how they can execute with that approach.
How's the transition to Notre Dame going?
It's going great. It's been a great time. Definitely a full schedule between camp and classes, but I'm really enjoying it. Loving the coaching, loving the group of guys. It's been awesome.
Having a guy like Milk in the unit, what has he done for you guys in terms of getting you acclimated here?
It's been awesome. It's great to have a guy who's been around for a while and definitely coming in as a transfer. It's nice to have someone who knows everyone on the team already and getting to meet everyone, and then he also knows the program and the ins and outs of everything. So learning a lot from him and just taking it all in.
You've got a big background, but what's the biggest thing you've learned in the Notre Dame program?
The biggest thing I've learned is we kind of talk about this in team meetings too. It's like one day, one life. So just focus on the now and don't think too far ahead, and then don't reminisce on the past if it's been something bad, but learn from the past, but be in the now.
Coach Biagi talks about preparing you guys to get between the white lines. Mm-hmm. What's been the mental training? How's that been for you?
Yeah, so we've been speaking with a sports psychologist, which has been super helpful. And we've been doing a lot of training on really locking in and focusing, because there can be distractions, especially when you're kicking. It's a big mental game. So going out there and honing in and having a process every time you get between those lines.
Is that just for special teams, or is that the whole team doing mental health?
I believe it's everyone. Well, we talk about mental health with everyone, whole team, but specifically we've had meetings in the past few weeks, and especially during camp, about in our notebooks we have full processes that we go through to stay calm in the game and be not distracted by outside factors.
How would you describe Coach Biagi's coaching style?
I love it. It's very hands-on, and he'll let you know when you mess up, but he is very helpful when you do mess up. So he knows where to fix it, and he's helped all of us a lot with form, everything, and mentally too.
During some of the one-on-one drills going on over here, we saw him kind of jumping around a little bit. Is that the energy that he usually brings?
Every day, yeah. Super energetic in the meeting room, team meetings, out on the field. It's awesome.
What attracted you to Notre Dame, and what's the difference here that you've seen?
Yeah, what attracted me was the obviously it's a great football school, amazing place to be, academics, and then the people. When I visited and got here, the staff, the players, everyone was so accepting, and it's an awesome place to be.
Did you have a previous relationship with Zach Yoakum before you got here?
Yes, so I went to high school with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was a freshman when I was a senior. So bumped into a little bit, but I think he was on freshman JV when I was on varsity, so.
Mm-hmm. And then was that, I guess, a comforting feeling just knowing you knew somebody when you got here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to know that he was here, and then also all the guys here are friendly. So even when I got here, if I didn't know anyone, it would have been perfect. But it was nice knowing that he was here. Mm-hmm.
The mental health coaching, is that something that you have ever done before, whether at your old school or in high school or anything?
Yeah, so at Penn, we were really lucky. We had a guy named Joel Fish who worked with the 76ers, and we did some training there as well, mentally. Mm-hmm.
How much do you feel like that helps you, and especially in game situations where maybe there is a lot of pressure, there is a lot of noise?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is. It's super helpful, because there's definitely your instinct takes over when you're playing sports, but it is nice to have that to default on if you do feel yourself kind of get out of line, being able to revert back to you're reverting back to your training physically, but if you can revert back to it mentally, then you're good to go.
Bryce, where has Coach Biagi kind of helped your game the most since he's got here?
Really the mental game and just the consistency aspect of that, of taking your punts and warm-ups and just being able to do the exact same thing when there's a rush, when there's pressure, all these different kinds of things.
How would you describe his coaching style?
Pretty hands-on, I'd say. He'll show us how to do a drill, and he has a lot of stuff that he brings to the table from being a punter and drills that he knows from firsthand that work. And so we've had a lot of stuff like that.
There's a guy like Milk who's been around the program for a while within your unit. What has it been like with him and kind of getting you guys acclimated to the Notre Dame program?
Yeah, he's been great. Just from this year and last year, always knows the answer to every question you're going to ask. So it's been great having Milk around.
Describe your kicking style, and what's the biggest thing that you've learned just over the past season?
Yeah, so I mean, I'd say my style is just to keep everything under control, and just to put my body and the ball in the perfect position to where I can just swing on it as hard as I want. And then the biggest thing I've learned is definitely the mental game of it, because that's the most important part.
We talked to the other guys about the mental health training that you guys are going through right now, and you've touched on it yourself, unprompted, about how important that is. What have you maybe learned about yourself that you've been able to change or adapt since you've started the training?
Yeah, I think I've learned that I kind of have to tone it down sometimes a little bit. Like last year, I would just come out and be like stoked to just come punt footballs, and that would just turn into like overstriding, just trying to kick it too hard. And so I've kind of translated that into more of like I just kind of have to go out there nonchalant and just like really relaxed.
Keep yourself even.
Yeah, stay in the middle like Coach.
Is it easier said than done, or has it kind of been like from the training that you're getting?
It's been working pretty well. I feel like it's been pretty smooth.
Anything else? Yeah, why punting? Why is it the position that you really wanted to use?
Yeah, so I played soccer growing up, and then I kind of just got burned out of it, but I was always the kid with the big leg. I played sweeper and just booted up to the forward. And so I was like, I want to play football. Got into football, played linebacker, wasn't very good. And then I just got into kicking and punting. And from there, I was able to find my coach, Dan Orner, in North Carolina, my technical coach. And he gave me the advice. He said, like, for every 10 good kickers, there's going to be 2 good punters. And so he's like, if I had a son right now your age, I would make him a punter and a kickoff specialist, because there's just way more opportunities for that.
Hey, we'll talk about going into fall camp. What's changed from last year, and really what is your personal goal going into the season?
Yeah, so my personal goal this fall camp is to really be the best leader that I can be and be the most consistent that I can be for my teammates, because at the end of the day, I need to put my guys in a position to win, whether it's Bryce, Spencer, Krimm, all the specialists. Nothing happens without me. So I have to be able to be the most consistent for them in order for them to have success.
So you mentioned those specialists, new faces. What's it like? What's the challenge of working with new guys?
Yeah, the challenge is obviously getting in our rhythm. I think we all did a really good job being committed this summer. We all came together, me, Spencer, and our holder Dylan. This is our last year to really give it everything that we have. Like, there's no other options. We need to be committed. Every single day we got about 30 reps of field goal. Just getting in our rhythm. But there's a lot of new faces in our room, and I have faith in every single one of them that they can go out there and do the job on Saturdays.
What role do you take in kind of getting everybody transitioned into the Notre Dame program?
Yeah, so for me, I've been here for a long time. This is my 6th year, so I know the ins and the outs of this place. So like a guy like Spencer and Krimm, they're coming from not as big of environments as Notre Dame. So for me to get with them and kind of run them through a mental rehearsal of what game day is like, and for me to show them how we operate on game day, and just really focus, stay in your 3-foot world, because if you look around the bright lights of the stadium with 80,000, or like last year playing at Ohio State, 100,000 fans, it's really easy to get lost in all the distractions. So being able to hone in and teaching these guys that we need to stay in our world, nothing else matters.
How does the approach change for you going through multiple fall camps?
Yeah, for me, it's every fall camp I just try to be a little bit better. For me, I'm not just competing with the guys on the team, I'm competing with all the other top snappers in the country. So for me, my mindset is, okay, I'm not here to beat, myself, I'm here to beat everyone else, because I know that there's a lot of really good snappers out there, and I'm trying to be the best in the country, so I know that I have to take my game to the next level.
What's the relationship like between you and your new special teams coordinator?
It's awesome. It's awesome. Him and I joke around a lot. Him and I kind of the same personality a little bit. So it's just been great. It's been a smooth transition, I thought. I think it's been really, really successful.
All right, one more.
Does Coach Biagi have different emphasis than maybe Mason did?
No, not too much. I think what's great is we have a great combination of coaching that we have. We have a guy who punt and kicked at Marshall, so he really knows what to look for. Not to say that Coach Mason didn't, but he can really hone in on what we need. And for the kickers and punters, and I think that's really been instrumental for these guys. You guys saw Bryce out there, like he's he's nuking the ball. Spencer's doing really, really well. So I think it's been, a really smooth transition.
How's the transition going?
That's been awesome so far, super smooth. Been really blessed to be surrounded with this type of staff and my teammates. Couldn't have wished for a better transition. I've been enjoying every second of it.
Coach Biagi was talking about your soccer background in terms of preparing for the stage. Because of that, does that make the leap to the stage at Notre Dame easier?
Yeah, I think so. I think having experience playing in multiple sports at different levels helps you to grow and mature pretty quickly. And so, yes, there's a difference in the level of where I'm playing now at Notre Dame, but I'm still doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing I've done for years, and so that transition, makes it a lot easier.
How would you describe Coach Biagi's coaching style?
He's very unique because I've never had a special teams coordinator that can do what he can do as schematically working with special teams, but is so invested in the specialists themselves and helping us succeed technique-wise. And so that's been a really, really cool combination to have. I'm really blessed to have that at this level because he's truly invested in our technique and helping us to succeed as kickers while he's also doing all this other stuff schematically. So,
What's the biggest thing you've learned here?
I would have to say it's relationship building. It's providing value to other people. There's so many incredible networking opportunities and contacts here at Notre Dame. You can't approach it in a way of oh, what can you do for me? How can you set me up well for life? It's what value can I provide for you? And so learning how you can provide value to your teammates, to the coaching staff, to the donors, to the alumni has really been eye-opening, and it's so cool to be a part of that network.
As a kicker, take us through your progression. This for the fans who are listening. Give us your mindset when you take the field. What goes through your mind?
Yeah, hopefully not a whole lot. That's the ideal. Is if you can clear your mind and just focus on the task that you have, you're the best off because the hours that we spend training out here is what sets us up for success. And so at the end of the day, when the pressure is there and the situation, the stage is big, you're going to fall back to your training. And so the hard work is spent training, going through your routine, getting your steps right, your mentality is good, swinging out to your target, so that when the game situation comes around, you just execute at the same level that you have.
You're kind of the guy that wants to kick it with 1 second left on the clock.
Yeah, I think that you always have to be prepared for that moment. We don't get a choice where we kick from, at what minute that we kick from, so our mentality has to be as consistent as possible. So my mentality should be, if we're we're up 30 and I'm making a field goal from the 5-yard line is the same if we're down 2 and there's 1 second on the clock against Ohio State. It doesn't matter the situation, our operation and our mindset has to be consistent.